Hello everybody and welcome back to the very busy Veeam show floor at Veeam 2019 here in the very warm and only getting more humid Miami, Florida. I'm hanging out with Quest Software, who are going to tell you a little bit about themselves and why you guys candidly, why did you come down?
Yeah, great question. So Quest is an independent software company. We have over 100,000 customers worldwide and over 100 countries.
Okay.
And our aim is to essentially provide simple solutions to complex IT problems. And we've got our solutions in multiple different pillars and markets. So we've got information management solutions, security solutions, Microsoft platform management, and also data protection, so backup and recovery and storage and so on. So that's what we do. And myself and Adrian are within the data protection business unit focused on backup and recovery, secondary storage, disaster recovery, and so on. And one of the main reasons we're here at VeeamON is to talk about one of our newest products that we brought to market called Quest Core Store, which is the industry's only software-defined deduplication and replication solution. And the beauty of that is that works really, really well with Veeam to ultimately help make Veeam even faster than it already is and reduce the cost of storage and help make it easier to get data to and from the cloud. So we're here talking to a lot of Veeam customers and partners and spreading that message, basically.
Very, very cool. So that's obviously a pretty big announcement. Is that a product that's available now, or is it coming soon, or where are you at in the stages of that? Yeah,
great question. So we've actually got a long history of being in the backup and recovery and deduplication market. So we've had deduplication appliances for several years. And that's a combination of the hardware and software combined in one package. And what we've done is we've heard from customers and partners over the years that whilst that package is really attractive, there's a demand for more of a software-defined approach and more of a flexible offering built on software only. So we've essentially decoupled the software and the hardware. So we've taken that tried and trusted technology and come out with a software-only version. And we launched that last year, and it's been growing really, really quickly since then. And that's the essentially tried and trusted technology, but decoupled from the hardware to give that greater flexibility when it comes to deployment, especially in the cloud.
So I got to ask, because this is piquing my interest here, what kind of overhead is that putting? I mean, what kind of computer you're needing since you're pulling the hardware out of that? How can you talk about how it's implemented, kind of the back? I mean, it's got to run on something. So what's the recommended requirements for hardware for something like that?
Well, again, another good question. A lot of things require something to run on, so obviously that's always a component.
That's why we're all in business.
All while we're in business. So what traditionally has happened with deduplication appliances, it's a bespoke hardware that's only available from that vendor. And it's really pre-designed. So what we wanted to do is kind of break that paradigm a little bit and then just say, all you need to understand are the requirements for CPU, memory, and IOPS. And if you meet those requirements, that's it, you're done. Now, we've got this technology to such a point now that yes, you can run it on hardware, but you can also run it in a virtual machine.
That was my next question, is does it have to be on metal or can it be in a VM?
It can be in a VM, and here's the nice thing, you can run it in a VM in cloud as well. We have a cloud optimized install, which actually pegs the CPU and memory, so it keeps the compute cost around about $200 a month. So that becomes really predictable.
That's not bad at all.
So then it's just storage you're adding, and of course because of deduplication kicking in, storage usage then becomes really, really efficient. So it gives a whole kind of change to the way that you want to utilize where your data wants to live and move to as well. So if you consider it can run on premises, you can run in cloud, so enabling things like disaster recovery, secondary copies of data sets, you want to put them somewhere else, you don't have a second data center, well okay, you can just now push that up into cloud. Data movement is optimized, we only move the data we need to, so that keeps that nice and efficient and seamless.
Now can it only because I don't fully know the technology yet, but can that span? Can you have part of it on-prem on-premises and part of it in the cloud, or is it just one or the other?
So that's probably the best question I've heard all day. So this,
Yes!
Yeah, you got this kind of nailed. So
Well, I like this stuff.
Our next release, which is going to be version 6 of Core Store, which is coming in early July, actually makes that happen.
Perfect.
So
That's the big.
This is the big piece, right? So what we've actually done now is change the way that you view the data set as it sits in that initial storage. What we wanted to do is to actually have an automated policy that looks at the data. If it's been idle for a certain amount of time, you can say, just move those data blocks, already deduplicated, already encrypted, and just move those blocks out to blob storage. Now we do that seamlessly, and then you can say, I want to keep it for so long on premises, then after that I want to get rid of the on-premise copy and just leave those blocks out in cloud. Now what's kind of neat is that that's seamless, but so's the recovery. So when you're looking at recovering data, this is where it kind of gets really interesting, because a lot of people in that scenario say, oh, we've got to pull all the data back down again, you've got to re-ingest it somehow. We don't do that. So what we've actually done, we've made the recovery as seamless as the data movement going out. So we can build the image you want to recover back from what we already have on premise, because there's just a lot of reference blocks already in the deduplication store. Then if we need anything else from older blocks, we just pull the blocks required.
Fascinating.
So your egress data costs start to drop dramatically, right? And then again, that experience is seamless. The customer doesn't have to interfere with that. We do that all under the hood. Very, very simple.
Yep. And to sum all that up, what you just described is much more granular control over your own data, which is always a fascinating thing, because people talk about, oh, we offload our data here or there, but being able to move it at that block level and have that control over not only where the former appliance sits, but then where the data ends up, is a big win for a lot of people, because depending on how they're set up, companies are set up many, many different ways, but I can see worlds where they just offload everything that's not needed for maybe a week snapshot, goes up into the cloud or is offsite. And being able to do that at a much more granular level is going to be a game changer for some companies, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, and the cost improvement as well. So when we released that Core Store technology in July, we sell our product via a capacity license. So if they buy 10 terabytes of the on-premise, we will give them a 3 times license for cloud included.
Gotcha. So
if they buy 10 terabytes, they're going to get that 3x in the cloud. Now our solution scales pretty well, so if I looked at the full scale and I did say a 10-to-1 deduplication ratio, and I filled up all the logical space into cloud as well, we'd be looking at around about 14 petabytes of storage through a single instance.
And
I think it's a lot of data.
One of the key advantages as well is the fact that it is a software only and software defined product. You take away that dependency on any particular device, and you increase the flexibility massively, because it's very common for decisions to be made now about the storage that you're going to choose and the location you're going to store your data, and assuming that you're committing to a 3 or 4 or 5 year life cycle, but who knows what your business is going to look like in 2 or 3 years, who knows how things may evolve. So by adopting a software-defined approach, you've got complete flexibility over where the data goes now and where it goes in future.
So this might sound like a basic question, but I'll get to the point of why. Is if you put it in a more powerful VM, does the process happen faster?
Yes, it's one of those technologies, the more you throw at it, the more efficient it becomes.
That's what I would expect.
The faster the disks you give. It's one of the other things we're doing in our next version. We're actually putting in a high performance tier as well. So people will be able to leverage SSD drives inside there. So they want to do instant boot from a deduplication solution. In the past, it's been almost impossible because of the rehydration speeds. Well, we've kind of nailed that issue now. So in our performance tier, you can do instant boot off of SSD, but still have all the benefits of dedupe and cost savings across that tier as well.
And the point I was trying to make is that when you buy an appliance, you're pretty much locked into that hardware until you're willing to pay some sort of upgrade fee. But if you can just say, hey, look, we're discounting this rack or discontinuing it, but it's better than the VM we're running on, why don't we put the appliance software on there, and you get speed and performance improvements without having to buy new hardware. Yeah,
and the other thing as well, when you're looking at those hardware-centric solutions, that end of 3 to 5 year span when they say, we now need to change the hardware, it reaches that point, well, then you would normally have to go and rebuy the entire solution, including the software again. So with Core Store, you don't need to do that.
Interesting.
So you change your hardware, you get to keep the software license, that's perpetual, and just move it to your new hardware. So your return on investment is much, much better.
So gonna blend some worlds here. How are you guys educating the world on this stuff? Because this is obviously a pretty big deal.
Yeah, you're right. And what we're finding is every time we have a conversation with someone about this, the eyes light up, and people really get it and get pretty excited about it. So our goal is to get out there and tell as many people as we can, in as many different places as we can. Hence the reason why we're here.
I was going to say, and doing this interview, starting that process with our readers,
and help people understand what's out there and what's available. So we're doing a lot of events like this to get out and about. We've got a lot of digital marketing and awareness, and we're getting into a lot of events and local regional marketing with as many people as we can to spread that message.
Fantastic. And if our readers and listeners want to find out more, what's the best place to find you?
The best place to find us is quest.com, our website, and on there you'll get all of the information that Adrian just shared, as well as all of the contacts for your region should you want to reach out and arrange a call or a meeting. So it's quest.com.
Fantastic. One last question. Where are you guys based?
Individually,
or as a company, either way, or both.
Yeah, so our company, as I said, we're a true global organization. We do business in over 100 countries, and we have locations all over the world, really. Our headquarters, global headquarters, are in Aliso Viejo in Orange County, California, and our European headquarters are in Cork, Ireland. Personally, I'm based in Glasgow, in Scotland, in the UK. And Adrian is based in England. So we've travelled quite far to come here, which is great. But as a company, we really are spread all over the world with many offices.
Fantastic. Well, we appreciate your time and stopping by today. And everybody else, you can find a link below. And stay tuned to the Petri Dish as we'll be talking to more people at VeeamON. Everybody else, thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
It's fascinating stuff, guys.